Barnstable This Morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live in studio, Town Manager Mark Ells. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on your new position.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I guess that this is the first question I have is now that you are Town Manager, I'm sure you've been thinking about kind of goals and priorities and kind of getting used to your new role. So are there any immediate goals that you have as Town Manager, anything you want to see accomplished, within the next few months, say?
Well, certainly, we kind of look bigger picture and working with the town council and establishing goals and looking at the strategic plan and what our priorities are and what budget allows. We're trying to go into our next fiscal year's budget looking at things like asset management, performance management, and further our efforts in specifically in those areas. The town of Barnstable has a tremendous amount of resources, some of them land, some of them facilities, and we want to make sure that all those facilities that we have are maintained properly. We want to understand their use. We want to make sure that if we're going to keep them, that we keep them so that they can be used by all to be enjoyed. And if we're not going to do that, then we need to relook at why we have them. So that's been an ongoing effort, but you'll see that ramped up in this budget. Certainly working with Mark Milne on the open budget information that we have. I know you've talked about that,
Sure.
And we're going to try to include it a little bit more in our communications to the public. And looking at things like performance management within that, using it as internal measures as we go into this budget year on our operating budget side, to make sure that we're achieving more objectives, the shorter term measurable things that we're looking to accomplish on an annual basis. We also have issues still moving relative to homeless in our community. We have issues relevant to substance abuse. We're going to be looking to communicate more and develop even more programs on the preventative side of this issue, hopefully teaming up with schools and senior center and some of the other departments within the town to make sure that we're fully addressing the issue with the departments and the resources we have internally, and obviously partnering with the state and county and agencies that are out there to make sure that we're addressing this to the fullest ability we can.
Absolutely, and of course I think for you as a parent, certainly important to see some of those prevention and really see what the kids are exposed to and what they need in terms of dealing with this issue.
Absolutely. Everything we can do to support the youth of our community, that has always been the case, but you'll see that continue. Certainly as a priority personally and professionally for myself. I think you'll see us try to formulate a very positive message too for our public and our visitors. Barnstable makes that easy because we have so many wonderful resources
Absolutely.
here, and we also have the ability to communicate through what you program for us and
Sure.
and what we've been doing, just within the organization. But it's important when we look at all these wonderful resources that we have. And we have a professional management team focusing them on the resources, that we communicate out to our public and our visitors and our business, what we're doing and why it is working. So you're going to see a little bit more of that consistent message going out there. And certainly on the flip side, listening, as we always have, to make sure that if there's something obvious or something new or opportunity, that we're considering that as we move forward. So it's an exciting time for our organization, and I feel privileged to get the chance to lead it.
Absolutely, and just thinking about communication, obviously, Mark, you've been with the town for many years now and in a variety of different capacities. I think at this point you do kind of know the players, but I think that as well in this new position, kind of more opportunity for communications with the public, with the concerns, and I've heard you say on a number of occasions, just come in and talk to me. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. If residents do kind of have some thoughts or ideas that they want to share with you, stakeholders, et cetera, what is the best way for them to reach out?
all methods. I mean, I get texts, I get telephone calls, I get emails. You know, I try to get them to the appropriate person. It's interesting. You always think you know everything that's going on, and you really never do. Doesn't matter what role you play, but people will come to me thinking I know all the answers to everything now, and it really isn't the case. I try to direct our residents, our businesses, our visitors to the appropriate people so they can get actual answers that are accurate and can be helpful. But all the methods that I've said, they all work. The easiest way to get a meeting is just call into my office and say, can I get some of Mark's time?
Great.
And that'll happen. You know, you can call me on my cell phone again, text me, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Sometimes when it's obvious that I can't answer the question.
Right.
If it's an answer for DPW or police or reg services, let's say, I will respond and say, I'm going to have so-and-so, usually the director of that department, get back to you, and then we'll continue to communicate to make sure that it comes to some reasonable resolve.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about the parking lot.
Sure.
We've heard in the news, I think it's made its way to the newspapers, the radio stations, et cetera, but of course that is our town hall parking lot, kind of a shared use between people who want to hang out on Main Street, go to a restaurant, et cetera, but also a big place for people who are employed here at the town to park. And it seems like in recent years we've seen a little bit of misuse of that lot, people parking there a little longer than they may have wanted to. So let's, tomorrow, the 6-hour
well, it was very specific. This effort is very specific. What we saw happen last season to a certain degree, but in a much smaller amount than this season, is people parking in the town hall parking lot early morning, 6 a.m., walking down to catch a boat to the islands, and then coming back, last boat of the day, 5:30, 6, whatever time those boats came in, and coming back and taking their vehicle and leaving. So what they, and this grew from maybe a dozen to a dozen and a half up to the entire parking lot being full. Right. We were getting calls from businesses on Main Street and in the area. We were getting calls from our residents who wanted to come to Town Hall to do business. We heard it from our own employees. We heard it from the surrounding organizations, library, museums. Pretty much everybody by June was coming to us saying the parking lot's full when we show up in the morning. What's going on? Right. Well, that's what's going on. We had our parking people here. So this effort is specifically focused to stop that. It's not to deter a visitor or a resident coming here. That's why we have the 6-hour limit. Course. Most people aren't parking there for longer than 6 hours. So hopefully that will resolve that. There are options. I mean, sir, on 4th of July weekend, every parking lot here is full, and I don't view that as a negative. I view that as something that's positive, and we need to manage it. Because if they're not coming here, then people are really going to be upset.
Right. You don't want to see empty parking spaces.
That's right. But it always amazes me that even this morning when I drove in, the Red Cross lot, which is a municipal lot, a couple of lots back on South Street, was completely empty. Yet Town Hall was, when I drove in at 7:30, was probably about a third full at that point. So huge difference from last week. People that were parking there are not now.
Yep.
I'm waiting to hear where they went.
Exactly.
So I'll hear back from our parking people this week, or today probably. But that parking lot was completely empty. And during our peak summer months, during school year, a lot of the younger people that are going to the various, whether it's typically Sturgis, but Four Seas or people coming in, or people who know that the students might be parking somewhere, so they park there. They're there. Now, peak summer, they're not there. So it's amazing how many weekdays especially, there's no one in that lot.
And that's my ace in a hole. When I need a
parking
spot,
where you go, so I just blew it on television?
No, that's okay. I want more people to park there, because I've always been fascinated as to why there are always so many empty spaces.
Well, it's familiarity and it's proximity to where you want to go.
Exactly.
And that's what parking is all about. The other thing that I'm encouraging people, and you can go onto our website and go right in and take a look at how we're progressing on a comprehensive parking study we're doing through Growth Management Division. But I'm encouraging people, especially when they call me last week, I received a lot of calls last week, to go in and look, and I ask them if they've participated yet. Have they taken the online survey? I understand people can't get to public meetings all the time,
Sure.
but we try to give them so many avenues to give input into how they use parking in the downtown area, what would make it better. Just general comments. I had several calls from businesses on Nantucket asking me what's going on, we're hearing, and I took the time, we talked through it. All of them wanted that link. And they wanted to say, oh, yeah, we need to know what's going on, and can I call you back? And of course you can. And I'm going to see the town manager from Nantucket on Thursday, so I'll chat with her about it as well.
Wonderful. So we'll certainly look forward to seeing improvements at our lot. And again, as the parking study goes forward, thanks to perhaps some, and this is something I'm sure people can share on the survey as well, but might provide an opportunity for more accommodations for bicyclists, perhaps some bike racks, things like that, to encourage people to leave their cars at home.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Always, and use public transportation, and walk if you're in close enough proximity.
Absolutely. Great. Well, Mark, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll look forward to having you here every Monday.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Mark Ells is our town manager. I'm going to head now to our fishing report with Captain Gary.